Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Spotlight Series. I am Rick Plaskett, a certified business and leadership coach here in Columbus, Ohio. And today my guest is Ben Wallace. He is the owner of QStart Labs. I'm going to let him share a little bit about what it is, but I think it's going to be very, very interesting to you as the audience today. We're going to talk to him about his business challenges, some of his best practices, and share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business in today's environment. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can get notifications of future interviews. Ben, welcome and thank you for being with us here today.
Hey, thanks, Rick. Thanks for welcoming me onto the pod. Very thankful for the opportunity. A little bit about QStart Labs. We are a software development company that specializes in building software solutions for startup businesses and small and medium-sized businesses. So we often act as like a technical co-founder and partner with a lot of these startup companies that we have that are looking for, building out a software solution or an idea that they have maybe had some funding on, and our team can help them see around corners, get them from 0 to 1, and build a technical advantage that they need to become successful in the market. We're based here in Dublin, Ohio, so we love our roots here in Buckeye Country, OH, and we're very thankful for everybody that we've kind of come into our ecosystem within the Central Ohio and the Ohio market.
Yeah, you didn't let me slip in there, IO, okay? So you just rolled right over that, but we get the story there. Hey, give us dig a little deeper into there, being the technical support for businesses. Define a little more. Let's get laser focused into what businesses, where and how does a business know that they need QStart Labs?
Well, it's a variety of different customers that we have, some of which are startup companies that maybe just have a napkin sketch and they don't have any true technical functionality yet, but it's more or less just an idea. There's some people that come to us and they have an MVP version already created. They may have some investment, family, friend rounds, that kind of stuff, pre-seed, pre-revenue rounds, and maybe we're a good fit for them on that standpoint. And then on the other side of it, there's also people that are well-established companies, whether they be startups or medium businesses, that need technical experience, but either lack it internally or they haven't found the right partner externally. And QStart can be that right fit for them. Um, our forte is obviously with the startup ecosystem and culture, because we are startup founded. We were part of a VC arm of it, back in the origination days of 2008 with NCT Ventures, which was one of the first venture capital firms in the Columbus market. And they really left a good footprint and plan for how Ohio has kind of grown into the heartland version of Silicon Valley, and it's continuing to grow. But with that said, we came from the startup ecosystem, a lot of entrepreneurs on our team, some of which have founded other companies in the past. Our original founder had a number of companies underneath his belt before QStart was founded, and that's kind of the culture that we started to create here within our team. It's not only just a mercenary development shop that can build a solution for somebody. We're often thinking about the success of founders, entrepreneurs, and their businesses. So we think about the holistic picture of building out a solution for them rather than just taking an ingredients list and a functional spec and building a solution and not thinking about the consequences of what we're building at the end of the day. Because any founder and business owner knows that whatever you spend your money on, you should be spending it to either generate more revenue or generate more leads for business in the future. So if we're not putting one of our customers in the right kind of position to grow their business with revenue and more opportunities, then we're not the right partner for somebody like that.
Got it. Got it. So, Ben, what's the current ownership structure? Are you a solopreneur? Do you have outside investors? What's the structure?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rick. And some of it kind of will point to the past and the timeline that we've had with QStart. So we did start as a portfolio company underneath NCT Ventures. They had invested into us as their technology arm to help build out a lot of their startup companies within the portfolio. About 2014 or 2015, we made the choice as employees of QStart to buy out the ownership interest, and we're now entirely employee owned. There's a number of partners that are sole equity owners of the company, myself being one of them. And then we also have an LTIP program, so a long-term incentive program that allows all of our employees to participate in the success of the company and kind of get a little bit of skin in the game and think about, how the business is doing, and think more on a owner level rather than just your standard employee. And again, that speaks to the culture that we've created back in 2008 and have continued to foster, over the last 15 to 20 years. Um, Growing a team that believes in what we're building and in the customers that we work with, and then also what the end goals will be for QStart. Continuing to grow our business, work with founders, continue to grow the ecosystem here within the Central Ohio and Midwest.
Super, super. So let's focus a little bit about you and your role. What is the specific role that you're playing in the business today?
Yeah, another great question. I am the president of the company, so I'm involved in all the day-to-day operations. I originally started as a software engineer on the team. So I had a couple different companies in the past. I had a portfolio company underneath a VC firm that sold. I started a digital agency, which built websites for small, medium-sized businesses around the Columbus market. Nothing technically sexy about any of those things besides just websites that look great and function well for them and were lead generation tools. But really started to cut my teeth on some of that stuff and really enjoyed the technology that I was building there. Happened to impress the folks that were at QStart at the time, and I started doing some contract work for them to help fill in some gaps when they needed the bandwidth. And really loved the stuff that the team was doing at the time. This was 2011, 2012 when I started doing some contract work with them. And I don't know what I did, but I happened to impress them, and they decided that they wanted to acqui-hire me, so acquire my digital agency and hire me on full time as an engineer. So we did that, mid to 2010s, and at that point, I made the conscious decision that this was a company that I really wanted to be with long term. Really believed in the vision and the products that we built. So I then invested into the company and became a partner back in 2015. Um, so all that being said, I learned from some really expert engineers on our team, some of which are still with us today on our team, and became a senior software architect, and then worked my way into the in the president's role within the last 2 years, and really enjoying every bit of that. As you know, being a founder of businesses, sometimes you have to wear many hats. So I am, doing the day-to-day operations from a strategic and executive level. I also dabble in some of our finances when we have to figure out how we're going to, make some things work if we need to. And then I still write a lot of code because I enjoy it. It's my way to break away from the strategic thinking and kind of give myself a break on that side of my brain, and then turn it into a critical thinking and problem solving part of it when it comes to engineering some good solutions for our partner companies.
Super, super. So give us an idea, percentage breakdown of working in the operations of coding and the day-to-day versus the amount of time that you spend looking to the future, the strategy, the vision, and the planning to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows. So there's no very good linear line of where I kind of break myself off between strategic thinking and operational, executing code and building out cloud architecture and things of that sort. So a little bit of it, kind of comes to what our workload looks like for our team, and where I can help plug in and kind of free up some of the other guys on the team to become a little bit more valuable at what they're specialized in. So I enjoy, being the right kind of leader that can jump on something and sacrifice for my team's sake, which is good. Um, but on the same point of that, the other driving factor with any business owner is when cash flow may be tight, you have to figure out ways to generate more revenue. And if I can spend some time, in the evening after my wife and I get our kids to bed, and I can spend some time coding projects and bringing them up to the spec that we need them to generate more revenue, I do that. When cash is good, I can think more strategically and see how we can make cash better. But it ebbs and flows. Sometimes especially being in the startup ecosystem. You may have some customers that, they're low on cash, they're going through a funding round, and sometimes that due diligence takes longer than what they expected. And sometimes we have to shoulder some of that burden because they just simply don't have the cash at the time to pay when they have bills that are coming due.
Mhm.
Um, it's a it's a problem that, it's tough for us sometimes, but it's also doing the right thing by the founders because it's again showing that we are a true partner for them. We're not just any other development shop that's going to, charge them interest and then take them to court if we can't get paid on time. We have to act as a true partner and empathize when times are tough for them because we've been there before and we understand it, and we want to make sure that we can, you know, be the right kind of person that can, be empathetic, take care of them when we can, and then still drive our revenue dollars forward with other opportunities that we have in the hopper as well.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that a ghost business that many of us end up running, and some of us don't even recognize that we're doing that, is you're in a banking business. You
Yeah.
know, we call it a cash gap between what you have to spend and when you get paid. And that's not what your name of the company is all about, but sometimes that's the hat that you do have to wear.
Mhm.
As we look at this, you're president of the company for 2 years, and you're absolutely focused on startup and growth and your own growth. What's your vision for the business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so our biggest goal is to continue driving revenue. So we need to continue growing at a pace that both is advantageous for us, but does not put us in a situation where we grow too big and we lose the culture as well.
Mhm.
So it's a fine line between, hey, is 10 people enough, or should we go up to 20 to 25 people? There's probably going to be the right time for that. Right now, we like being, just under 10. We recently hired a couple new devs to our team to share in the workload with some of the new opportunities that we have, and it's working out really well. But as we continue to bring in really great clients and really good work that we're going to be building out, growing that team is ultimately going to be the goal, and figuring out where to place the right people. That way, you have the right people on the bus and driving the success of the company, and that's often a challenge. We've gone through, maybe hiring the wrong person or finding the wrong contractor to fill a gap. And as many say, you got to hire fast, you got to fire fast, and that's one of the things that, as a new president of a company, you don't have to shoulder that burden as an engineer. But when you start being in the strategic position where I'm at now, I've had to make tough decisions, and oftentimes it's one of those that, yeah, it's going to be hard for me to sleep at night, depending on what the situation may be. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, we're both doing the right thing by our company, and we're also doing the right thing by those individuals, because if they're not the right fit, then they're also not gaining the right kind of value that they should with our company as well. So that's short-term and long-term goals, is growing the business from a revenue standpoint and team basis. But the ultimate goal is being a good partner for our startup companies that we work with. Integrity is always top of mind for us. So pausing on growth when necessary to make sure that we're taking care of our partner companies in the best possible way is always going to be a top priority for our team.
Super, super. You mentioned team and you mentioned growing the team, and anybody that is looking at uh, scalability is looking at hiring people. And some companies just make that their prime focus is the process of hiring and retaining people, because they either know they're going to need them or there's going to be turnover. So, what's your approach to hiring this team for the future and retaining the members that you have right now?
Yeah, so the plan for hiring people for us is always a try before you buy kind of thing. So a lot of times we find either contractors to fill a short-term need that we know may not be there 3 to 4 months from now, and we just have a very finite scope that we need them to work on, and that's a good role for a very project-based contractor to fit into. And then we also have opportunities where we're looking for full-time positions and people that will fit that cultural mold. and that's hard to find. It's not
Hmm.
very easy to just post something on LinkedIn and find the right individual that comes to your doorstep. So we found that contract to hire through some of our partner companies is often the best possible approach for us. We're paying a contractor rate at the beginning. We get to kind
Hmm.
of try before you buy. And then if they're a good cultural fit for us, and B, they can build things and products that we expect them to at a rate that we need them to, then we make the decision if it's the right move to bring them on full time within our team. Um, every once in a while you find that unicorn that, right out the gate when you're talking to them, that they're the right person, or maybe they've come from a trusted resource and that person
Hmm.
has some clout and some trust with you. Um, but yeah, our normal approach is small scope if possible. And then for longer term things, if we see, hey, we need this person, we see 3, 5 years worth of business that we're gonna be able to generate with them, then we still go through that contract to hire approach where, we give each, it's kind of like a trial run to get them on board within our team, see if they're the right fit, see if they can hang with the rest of the group that's here in the office as well. Um, because we're all nerds at the end of the day, but we like to be able to go out and grab a beer with them and act like we're family and friends as well. And if somebody doesn't fit that kind of culture, from a full-time employee standpoint, maybe they're not the right fit for us.
You mentioned culture a number of times, and you've shared with me how important that culture has been and how important it is going to be growing into the future. In your approach to hiring, do you look at any type, or do you use any type of personality profiles, either in communications or motivations or skills or any of those, to as a pre-screening?
Yeah, we do a little bit of a personality assessment, whether it's by us individually or by the partners that we have that help us do some recruiting. They know what we're looking for, the recruiters,
Hmm.
so they can kind of vet out some of the people that they know for sure are not the right fit. If there's people that are in that gray area or trending in the right direction, we have a couple different interviews that we'll go through. One of which is just simply a cultural fit, and normally that's me doing a non-technical interview to see, hey, can we have a conversation with this person? Do we feel like they have the right motivations? Are they driven in their career goals? Will they also be willing to make sacrifices potentially? There's guys in our team that they get the kids to bed and then they want to code because A, they love it, and two, they know there's a need for it, whether it be for us or for our partner companies. And
Hmm.
when again, you mentioned I do mention culture often. Um, Culture plays a big part of that. It's not that you feel like you have to work, but I feel like I want to work. I want to build this
Hmm.
cool solution, and
Hmm.
and we always say family comes first. So there's times when the guys may take off in the morning because they got to take the kids to the zoo or to the school and whatnot, and they know that, hey, I've got unlimited PTO at QStart. I got to take care of my family, I got to take care of myself and my mental well-being. But ultimately, we all are driving to get a goal accomplished, whether it be for QStart itself or for our customers. So they know that, hey, I've got to make some sacrifices too. The company is willing to show me that grace when I have to go out and take care of my family or travel and do a vacation, multiple in a summer, because that's what the wife and kids need to stay happy. And that culture within our team, that personality, the guys want to get the jobs done and get it done well. So I often see people that are making code commits onto GitHub at 11:30 at night while I'm cranking away at emails. They're still coding as well, and the business certainly appreciates their time and effort on that. Sometimes it doesn't go unnoticed, that's for sure. But we try to share in the success. Hey, so and so spent a little bit extra time this week to get this feature out for the client that had a hard deadline. So let's all give props to that individual. And again, that's right back into the culture again, because if people don't want to be a team player, then they're not going to be the right fit for QStart and not the right fit to help out with our startup companies.
Absolutely. If I may share just for a moment, there were years ago, I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, and Chick-fil-A headquarters was there. And once, twice a year, I would take my clients on a business field trip. And we would go visit their headquarters, and they had a tour guide that would tell us about the chicken sandwich, but also tell us about their philanthropy. But more importantly, they would tell us about their culture. And I had one of my business owners ask the tour guide once, how is it that you have such happy people here in the headquarters and every time we go to a store. And instead of answering the question directly, she did a quick phone call. And the next thing I know is myself and about six business owners are up in Dan Cathy's headquarter office, corner office overlooking the trees. And it was that. And we asked him the question, and he came back very directly and he said, Chick-fil-A hires on three priorities. They hire on character first, chemistry second, and then capability, what they can do. And they said, if you need a job today or tomorrow, you may not be working at Chick-fil-A because this process takes a while. And he
Hmm.
said, if, people typically don't get hired for not being able to do their job. If we are fired, if we have done our job, we'll put them in the right place and they'll be giving us benefit. He said most people, most businesses, they have a hard time when it comes to character. If you don't have the same values and beliefs as I do, somewhere along the way, there's going to be some friction. And then it comes to the chemistry, and the chemistry gets into that connectivity and character as well. But if everybody in my business looks at a caller ID when it rings on the phone and says, "Man, this is going to be fun," that's one culture versus somebody calling and you look at that and go, "Not today." That's a different, and that's a difficult thing to find in interviews. And yet it's so very critical. That chemistry is so very critical to developing the culture that you want. When they pass those two tests, then they get into what do you do? What do you know? How can you help us? And many times, that's a collaborative effort of you bring what you know, we show you what we know, and let's make 1 + 1 = 8. There's a lot of purposeful intent in that type of hiring, and yet they have very, very low turnover. So,
Hmm.
you, you
Because their
know,
employees love what they do, and they love the company that they work for. And
they
that's
built
exactly what we're trying to build here at QStart. We have very little turnover. Um, and the people on the team are very bought into the belief and the vision that we have as a business. And I think it's just a testament to the previous leadership teams that we have here at QStart and the employees that we currently have. They're all bought in on, let's try to drive this thing to success. Let's think about our partners, and let's do what's right as developers building out a solution for people.
perfect. Ben, thank you for sharing that. Hey, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today in our conversation. And for those of you that are watching, I highly encourage you to save this. Ben has shared some really, really good nuggets. I know you're not going to catch them the first time through. I've made a number of notes here, and I'm going to have to go back to complete those notes. But he's given us a lot of great nuggets on the business to consider today. So as we wrap up, I'd like to hit a section of rapid fire questions. All I'm looking for, Ben, is first thing that comes to your mind. You ready for these?
Let's go.
Super. Ben, what do you consider your key to success?
Our key to success is creating long-lasting relationships and integrity within the partners and companies that we work with. I think that will ultimately drive success at our business, and success drives revenue and all those kind of things. But it starts with a true relationship that can continue to grow.
Super. What's one piece of advice that you would give another business owner should he ask?
Business isn't easy all the time, and the biggest thing you got to do is figure out what your goals are from both an individual standpoint, family standpoint, and a business standpoint, and drive to those goals, and understand that not every time is it going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, there's ultimate success if you know what your goals are, you know how to tactically get there. Finding the right kind of advisors to get you to those goals may be helpful, but having the grit and the audacity to continue working through tough times is challenging, but the payoff is huge. So keep charging forward. We're here for you. So if anybody ever wants to reach out, I'm an open book. So look me up on LinkedIn and get my information from Rick. But stay the course.
Well, you
Business is
you
tough. So
you stole my thunder there. I was going to ask before we get to the final question if there was your next best customer or someone that really likes what you've shared with us today, Ben, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, happy to share. So you guys can go to our website, qstartlabs.com. You can also hit me up on LinkedIn as well. I'm underneath Ben Wallace. I've got a blue shirt on, pretty recognizable with the cityscape of Columbus behind me as well. Um, we're here to help support businesses, both small, medium, and startups. So if there's anything I can do, whether it be providing, just advice, just having somebody to talk to that's been in a business before and has seen some good times, some bad times, and everything in between. I'm here for that. If it's something that, hey, we may become your technical partner and provide some solutions for you, I'd love to have an opportunity to put our team in front of you guys and see if we can potentially build out some really good software solutions for you as well.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So here's the last question of the day. Ben, what do you find most inspiring?
I think, yeah, I've talked a lot about people and culture. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't continue harping on that. I think the most inspiring thing for me is creating relationships with individuals. I think human nature, building relationships is a crucial thing to happiness. So, reaching out to people, getting to know them, seeing how I can help out with their daily lives and their families and all that is also very important. Um, Business will come second. Just being a good person is um, one of my things that I emphasize and that I try to base every one of my days on is being a good person, getting to create good, long-lasting relationships with everybody in my network, and then continue to foster those relationships for time to come.
Super, super. Hey, Ben, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey. And to you, our audience, thank you for watching. We've been inspired by this. I know that I'm going to go back and listen to it several times because I only caught parts of all of the great wisdom that Ben has shared with us today. So, folks, make it a great day and bye for now.